wine. The party starts now. It's my favorite opening. Like it's my own opening. I recorded it. I hear it every time on the show. I love it. I think it's great. I did a great job. Thanks.
Yeah, you did.
Welcome back. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Sexy, Funny, Raw. And for the second time in a row, this will not tell you that I pre-tape my shows whatsoever. But my father is here as a guest co-host. Welcome, my dad, Mike. And my guest host for today, Dr. Lovejoy, giving us all the sexy phone calls you can handle for 15 plus years. Also hosting your own radio show on XM Radio, which I've been on several times. I love you to death. You're one of my favorite people in the world. We spend so much of our time together. We didn't used to spend so much of our time together, and we set it up to where we're we have no excuses. We're going to pick a day on the calendar, and then we make that day happen because we just love each other's company so much. So thank you for being back on the show.
So nice. And you are my favorite guest on my show. Whenever someone can't come in, you're my first call. But you know that.
Yeah, you guys do call me a lot. But you do call. I don't get out there as much as I want to.
Imagine how many times you'd been on, though, by now. If you...
I know.
You'd practically just be my co-host.
I know. Honestly, though, because you guys have a lot of open slots.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, like yours. Oh, hey.
Everything's got a price. Even LA parking meters, which is the size of our next guest for the day. Mrs. Lila Hart, comedian, good friend of mine. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is one of her claims to fame, is being as tall as a LA parking meter.
Which is what?
4'6".
4'6", yeah.
4'6".
Yeah, and actually, I've been on Lila's show as well. She hosts a show called Small Talk on channel 310. What is that? What is that on the channel 310? Where can they watch it?
That's on YouTube.
On YouTube,
and we are on Spotify. And
okay, good.
Yeah, we're all over now.
All right.
I love it. It was so much fun. She sets it up like a talk show, basically, and has other comedians come on. She has musical guests come on. It's fun. I had so much fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you were great.
And everybody you had on your show was fantastic. And I've even been there when your mom was there.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. I loved it. I love when we get to incorporate our families into everything you do. Your mom is a huge fan of yours, by the way.
Oh, she's the best. She comments on everything on Instagram.
Yeah.
You guys can find her at Esper Hart.
Oh, that's so cute.
Does she have a social media following?
She has a little bit of a following on Instagram, but she responds back to every comment, and if she follows you, she'll comment on your stuff too. She's very supportive.
Oh, I love it.
So sweet.
I love it. And now, if you don't know, Lila does, I don't want to say suffer. That seems like an off word for me, but does have spina bifida and lives her life that way. And so we have aptly named our show due to that good things come in small packages.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
The one day I wear heels, by the way.
Right.
I'm 5'2", and I'm usually, she's always in heels.
I know.
And the one day I'm always flat. So hi, this is a miniature, we're snack size, fun size.
Yeah. And you have your degree in broadcasting, right?
Yes, I went to Washington State University in Pullman, Washington. I have a degree in broadcast productions and minor in political science. So.
And then got into comedy. And you've been doing comedy for how many years now?
In February, it'll be 4 years.
Wow.
I
love it.
I met Silvia right around when I stared comedy.
Yeah, I feel
not too long after. So it's crazy.
We've done a bunch of shows together over the years. And then I was just saying before we got into things that Lila and I were booked on this hilarious show. I don't even know.
It was an amazing weekend.
First off, I don't even know how they found the two of us to put us together the way that they did. I think originally I was booked with Ron Jeremy on that. And then somehow he backed out, thank God, because I cannot stand Ron Jeremy. He is an awful human being. But then they put Lila on the lineup, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. So what it was is we got booked to do a show in Nashville, 4 shows. We had
two shows each night. So
2
4
shows each night
in total.
Yeah. And Friday and Saturday night. And Lila was my feature act. And then I would headline. And because I'm Silvia Saige, they asked me to strip for 2 songs.
Yeah, because we were at a strip club. We were performing at a strip club.
Yeah. So we literally have to stop the stripping to do stand-up comedy, which they have told no one is happening. So all of a sudden, Lila gets thrown up on stage and has to like wrangle a crowd into listening to comedy. And it was such a nightmare because they had never done comedy in this club before.
Yeah.
This was new to everyone. They didn't have a stage set up properly. They didn't have their microphone system working properly. At one point, Lila didn't even have a microphone. She's just screaming at the audience.
I was screaming my material. Yeah.
It was insane. But we got through all 4 shows. No one will ever hire me to strip again, and I'm totally okay with that. I think
you did a great job.
Oh, Lord, no, you don't. No one thought that. Like, literally, they were just so happy to see my songs end. Like, even the lady who was like the head of the strippers, she was like trying to tell me how to do things. You were giving me tips of how to do things.
Oh my God.
It was rough. It was a rough.
Were
go.
people tipping
But it was
you?
so much fun.
Like,
You know what?
Did they think that you were gonna be funny, and then all of a sudden you're gonna.
did we get? You did get tips.
I will say that I am so grateful for that experience performing stand-up comedy at a strip club.
Yeah.
Thus far in my career was one of the moments that really like taught me like, wow, I can do this. If you can do stand-up comedy in a strip club, you can do stand-up comedy anywhere. I mean, like, because you have to imagine this. One of the nights we didn't get up till 1:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And I'm following a naked woman getting off stage. They're handing me a microphone. They're like, hey, do the stand-up. And I go up there and people are just looking at you like, why does this girl still have her clothes on?
Right.
You know, what is she doing? And so I go into my material. I'm like, I'm going to do what I would normally do. And I talk about, having spina bifida. And at one point, I'm like, praise God, hallelujah. And the crowd is with me praising the Lord that, it was actually like a beautiful moment because I'm like, in the joke, I'm praising God that I'm grateful that I'm able to walk. And so when I do that, the crowd goes crazy and they throw money on the stage.
Oh my God.
So they actually threw the money on the stage and they're with me for the jokes. And I was just like, wow, I'm literally talking about spina bifida and disability at a strip club right now. And
Spinning
the
around the
crowd
pole.
is going with it, you know?
Yeah,
So like it was just as a disabled woman, like it was a really like profound moment for me. I'm like, wow, like I feel sexy. I'm at a strip club. I'm talking about disability and the crowd is laughing and loving it. Like, damn, I can do comedy anywhere, you know? So, and plus I got to be with Silvia and it was just such a fun
weekend.
It was so much fun. We vibed together really great, and then she performed and then I'd follow her to the next stage where she's stripping and I'm like on the sideline cheering her on, So, I mean, we were definitely like a little team there. So it was fun.
That is the.
Yeah.
This is a routine in itself.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And when you stripped, are you getting butt naked?
Did I? I think I did.
Yeah.
I
So
think I
It
did.
was a butt naked situation.
Yeah.
And then you're getting dressed and getting back up and being funny.
No, I would do comedy first.
Okay.
So I would do comedy first, and then I would go into a different stage and then go strip.
dance. And then did you come back and do another
show a few hours later?
A few hours later. But the crazy thing is, it's like, it is so hard to do comedy. It would be much easier to strip than to do the stand-up because it's like it's not, comedy is not made for
they don't
the
want you to be they don't want you to be doing comedy there. But actually people were, when we actually got them going and things were going good, people were listening, they were intent, they were laughing, like they were good with it once it was going.
And I think we kind of figured out the second night, okay, this is what we're going to do. Since they're not promoting it, I would go around to each of the tables, make friends with people and be like, hey, in a few hours, we're going to do comedy. So not only were we doing stand-up, we're being our own PR people.
Right.
Like, hey, telling people like, laugh because we're going to be doing this. So I'm trying to like get people to like us.
Yeah.
Sounds so fun.
Yeah.
I think it sounds great.
On Saturday, like the day of the second show, we went out during the day and we went out in Nashville to all the bars on the bar street and handed out flyers to our show.
Flyers to tell people to come watch us do stand up.
Yeah,
At
we
a
went
strip
everywhere.
club, they must have thought you were like this wasn't serious.
They thought we
Like
were
it was
crazy.
or just like a blooper thing. Like
we tried to go do comedy at a real comedy club while we were there. That didn't work out for us, but we tried. It was Lila's idea, and I thought it was a great idea. But we got there a little too late, and the headliner was already on. But it worked out because the headliner was this huge New York comedian that ended up coming and meeting us later on in the night.
It was Andrew
Schultz.
Yeah, so then he came with his crew to the strip club on the last night to like hang out with us. He missed our show, but it was like
cool.
It was a cool situation, you know, like we met up with other comedians and then they came and supported us.
Yeah.
Did you strip? Did they see you strip? Or
No,
you're
they
done?
weren't there for that.
Okay.
Thank God. Thank God no one was there to see that atrocity happen. First off, I have no rhythm. That's the problem is I don't feel a beat. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like white girl moves all day. Like so I don't like roll into music. I'm just real awkward and like I feel like I almost fell over a few times.
Stripper heels, like the
I had on
up-
regular heels. I
Okay.
can't do platforms. I
Right.
would have really died.
the pleasers.
I can't.
Okay.
No, we're not.
What
I
was
couldn't.
your song?
I can't even tell you
remember?
right now. I can't. I'd have to really think
You were
about
wearing
it.
feathers. You
I
had
had
fe-
feathers. I
and
had a
she had,
whole
like, a
like
little
thing.
whip.
Yeah, I can't remember
Oh,
now.
really?
Yeah, I did. I was trying to like
Well,
do
you
other
wanna
things.
you want to have different layers
to get rid
kind
of.
take
Right,
off, you know,
right.
because you don't just get naked. You
Yeah,
have two
you
more
wanna-
songs, you know, so you want to kind
You got to
of.
do 2 songs.
That's a lot. It sounds like
8
the
minutes.
Longest, it sounds like the longest 8 minutes.
It's the longest 8 minutes
Did you
of my
get
life.
great tips though?
I don't even remember.
She got tips. It was good.
Yeah, it was such
was
a.
flowing?
It was a nightmare. No, we're
think it
moving
sounds
on from
great.
it because it was really a nightmare. Okay, Lila, were you like the class clown? Like, how did you get into comedy?
You know, I've always been very like talkative, and I would talk to people like strangers at the airport or just be in line and talking to people. So growing up, especially when I was in college, I got a lot of like, oh, are you like some sort of comedian? I didn't think like, oh, I'm going to go out and do stand up. You know, I got my degree in broadcast production because originally I wanted to be a news anchor, because behind a news desk like this, you
Right.
would have no idea
Right.
that I am 4'6". You know,
Right.
if you met me right now, you would not know that. So I was in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a news anchor. No one's gonna know that I'm 4'6", and because I wasn't really ready to start, you know, openly talking about
Yeah.
having a disability, having spina bifida. Like I never would talk about that. I was just small, you know. And I got into comedy. It naturally kind of happened. I had an epiphany one day. I realized that no one was going to hire me as the 4'6" love interest on a soap opera, but if I became a comedian, you know, they'd write in parts for me.
Yeah.
So comedy is
Yeah.
where it's at.
I love that. I love that. What were you doing before comedy then?
So before comedy, I did work in digital advertisement. You know, I did stuff for YouTube and Facebook. So I did a lot of social media stuff. And then, you know, random gigs, you know, in LA, just trying to make a living. I mean, I've done all sorts of things
Yeah.
here in LA. I've sold knives door to door.
Girl,
Cutco.
me too. Cutco. I work for Cutco
you
too. I
serious?
totally did in Kansas City
Yeah.
though. My dad had to buy a set of knives from me.
Which is just
Yeah.
like insane, you know, like I'm literally walking and giving you the tools to kidnap
Kill
me,
you.
you know?
To
So I'm
kill
like, what
you.
am I doing?
Yeah.
But I do believe like all these different jobs I had, like door to door sales, or
Yeah.
just remember one time I worked for this blowout. It was called Blow Bunny. It was like a blowout bar, and I had to wear bunny ears in the parking lot,
God.
walk around and ask people if they wanted to get
Oh, no.
a blowout, you know, or like buy a package deal.
Wait, and because you're a midget, I would not a midget. You're not a midget, but a small person.
It's okay. We'll talk about that too.
Yeah, I don't want to say that because you're a smaller person. I hear get a blowout and your
Oh, please. That's the first
dick
thing
blowing
that's in, yeah.
size. I just imagine men are just thinking you're offering blowjobs all day in a bunny suit, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very
on their
interesting situation. But, you know, looking back on that, I'm like, man, like, it takes a lot of bravery to just go out there and talk to people. So
Yeah.
it's nice now to be able to use all these experiences and be
Yeah.
on stage and kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
You know,
All the shit jobs we've done.
so many shit jobs. But,
Yeah.
you know, comedy, the reason I love comedy so much, it's been really such a healing process because, you know, I can talk about disability. I can talk about, you know, saying the word midget. I can
Yeah.
talk about all of these things that used to really make me feel so uncomfortable. And it's almost like going on stage and
Owning
you,
it.
You own it and you take the power back, right?
Yes.
Like
So
I-
let's talk about it. Let's talk about the midget thing. Like, if
So-
someone, how do you?
so
Because I have questions.
Yeah.
So this is when I was in college, I have like a particular memory being with my group of girlfriends, walking down the street, going to a party, and this guy yells across the way. He's like, "Oh my gosh, there's a midget over there!" And my friend Barona, she is this tall, beautiful brunette, gets so angry and she's like yelling at this guy, right? And so it's crazy to think that fast forward to like 8 years later, I'm on stage calling myself the baddest midget bitch, you know? So it's kind of like taking this toll where it's like that word would make me feel like so ashamed and make me feel so uncomfortable. And it wasn't until I got to Los Angeles and I met other women with spina bifida. I went to my first Little People of America conference, you know? So I met so many other people who have struggled with disabilities who are also small. And in fact, like I have friends who are even smaller than me. So it's like, it's crazy to think that when I was in university, I was the only little person on campus.
Wow.
Really?
You know? Yeah. So
Surprise.
Yeah.
and then I moved out to LA, and like LA just attracts so much diversity out here. And I feel like to come out here and to pursue your dreams, you're gonna, you know, attract really like other really confident, strong women.
Yes.
And I've really kind of built a tribe of so many different strong women, but also disabled women who are out here doing their thing. So, you know, in the little people community, the M word, midget, some people like to use it, some people are offended by it. But for me, I've just, with the journey that I've gone through with this process of going through hating that word, don't say that word, to like, fuck it, I'm the baddest midget bitch, you know, it's like, it's been a process. So for me, I'm not offended by the word, but I could still understand why some people in their journey have not gotten there yet, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a process, but that's what I love about stand-up, you know? Like, I can confidently say at 28, I can talk about anything on stage.
Yeah.
Absolutely anything, you know? So disability and my sex life, whatever I want to say. And it's so absolutely freeing.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%. And that's kind of how I feel about like the word slut or whore or anything like
It's
that.
just a
Like,
word.
it used to really bother me, especially in school, like being younger. Like I was slutty, but I didn't want anybody to say that, you know. I didn't want to be like the slutty girl, you know,
Would
like
it be better if they were like, she's promiscuous?
no.
Is it okay?
It
So-
wouldn't. It's just been like,
Well, you know what? It's not the word; it's the intent behind the word, right?
Right.
Yeah, that
I'm
you're
not. I'm
degra-
not
yeah.
saying to you like, "Oh, you're a midget." I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Right,
get
right,
with
right.
that sexy
Yeah.
midget. You know, it's like, "Oh my god, a midget." You know what I mean? Or like,
Yes.
it's not saying like, "Oh, damn, she is a slutty girl. I'm
Yeah.
into that." It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she's a slut." You know? So
Yes.
it's
yeah.
Totally.
that's
Delivery.
what it is, and.
Yeah.
I think we get so hung up on words, right? And it's like, it's not really the word, it's the intent behind the word. It's what I'm trying to use the word. And sometimes people
How-
are using these words to hurt you.
Exactly.
And so when you're on stage and you're taking your power back by talking about your sexuality and talking about, you know, owning it and being the badass that you are, it's like that word can't hurt me anymore. You
Yeah.
know, it used to. I'm not going to say that it didn't, but I'm so past and so far beyond that.
Yeah. No, I love it. Yeah. Okay. Move. I have
Wait,
to.
can I have a quick question on
Yes.
the midget
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. 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 I'm so good at not
I'm
moving
so
along.
curious if how many men come to you just as a fetish,
Mm-hmm.
and do you have to see through that? Because
Definitely when I was younger, for sure. Like in college, you know, it'd be a lot of like, oh my God, my friend's afraid of a little person. And it's like any guy that says they're afraid of a little person definitely wants to fuck a little person.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what it is. And of course there is going to be like fetishes like that too. But the real switch for me, like as far as being confident about it, you know, I realize that I am little, so people are going to look because I am so much smaller. But I'm also a really beautiful woman,
Yes.
so
Yes,
they're
you
going to
are.
continue to stare,
Yes,
you know.
you
So
are.
just own that part of it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I
you're,
love that.
you are gorgeous,
Oh, thank
Oh, I
you.
know. She is stunning.
and you have great hair.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're just
Okay.
so complete.
Okay, we're moving on.
Yes.
I get sidetracked, and we have to move on to our word of the day.
Ooh.
Our word of the day for today: fletching. Can anyone guess, or does anyone know what fletching means? Go ahead. Don't look at my.
Is it a wet fart?
No.
Is it like to get something, like to fetch almost? Am I close?
No, Dad. Any guesses?
No guess.
You have no guess. Okay. To fletch is to suck up semen out of an orifice. Using a straw is optional. For instance, someone may ejaculate into their partner's anus and then suck out their own semen out of the anus with their mouth. They may then swallow or not to swallow. Keep in mind that the exchange of fluids in this way is associated with the risk of STDs. Fletching, ladies and gentlemen.
Fletching. Who wants to fletch tonight?
Anybody fletching?
Never done.
They banned
that.
Never
straws
fletched?
anyway.
You're not into I know you. Oh my God, I can't speak. I'm sorry. I keep eating these frogs in my throat. You have an amazing boyfriend who's a comic as well. You don't get freaky. No fletching.
No fletching. No.
Okay. Eric's a good boy. Good
You
job.
don't fletch?
You don't fletch?
You don't fletch?
Do you fletch?
Well, sometimes I take my metal straw out and
Sometimes
get
you
kinky.
fletch
Yeah,
it.
just like,
Have you
I like-
fletched, Dad? No. Never fletched. I've never fletched. But, it's a thing. And I just like I like people to learn, and no shame in your game if that's your thing, So
No, there's some shame in it
fletch it up.
sometimes.
let 'em
I'm
fletch.
here to shame you.
Let them fletch. Oh, she does like
Yeah,
to
I
shame.
like to- I'll
She's
shame
our
ya.
resident shamer. All right.
This is where we need the shame button to come on
Yeah.
in. This is where we need shame, shame, shame. Right?
Would you ever date a client? Not one of your clients.
No, I'm not turned on by submissive men.
You're not. Yeah.
No.
I'm not super turned on by that. either.
It's cool. Like, I don't want really a man who wears panties. I
You
just
want a
don't.
man who wears the pants.
Yeah, but Dad. We can go to Victoria's Secret after. You and me get matching sets.
So no, you're not gonna date a fan.
No, I'm not. I take that back. It depends on who the person is, because
Okay.
not every fetish is freaky. Sometimes it's just wanting to talk to a woman who's
Yeah.
just a little more on the domineering side.
It's funny to me because I hear a lot of times, like, because we have obviously paid messaging sites and stuff like that. Like, I have OnlyFans and in my premium Snapchat where you can message me, but it's all paid. Same with, Sext Panther and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, I would never pay to talk to somebody. I'm like, well, why? Because I'm not going to spend my time talking to you for free. So if you want to talk to me,
They
you
all
can
say that,
pay
but
for it.
They pay for
you
it.
know?
Yeah. Time is
It's
money.
Same, yeah, 100%. Like, I'm not gonna
You're
just
not here for fun.
right. I love when people are like, I had this yesterday actually. He's like, can I Skype with you? I'm like, yeah, and I sent him my rates for Skyping, and then he goes, oh, well, that's a little bit out of my price range, but I'd like to keep in touch. I'm like, well, what do you mean? We're not keeping in touch. Let me know when you've
No.
saved up the money. Like, well, I don't know why you think we're gonna be free pen pals. Like, this is not. I could be free pen pals with the million of people, Like, I would never
'Cause
do
they're
anything with my
cool.
time.
They're so sweet.
I would really love them if I got to know them.
Yeah, that's how it is. We'd be really tight.
If I really just gave them a chance, we would fall in love. Have you ever declined a client response of something they wanted?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes I get they start normal and then they try to segue it into incest or underage. The incest I don't care about, mommy, dom, whatever.
Yeah.
But I will not
Underage shit.
I don't
Can't
want,
do it.
They'll do this. They'll be like, God, I love young girls, and be like, oh, something, and then they'll say 13. I'm like, well, here's what I think you need. You actually need psychiatric help, and click.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, fuck
Good for
this
you.
shit. I don't need your fucking money.
Good for you.
You sick fuck.
Do you ever get weird shit in your DMs?
You know what? I like now that I have a boyfriend,
Yeah,
it's
not
kind
as
of
much.
like it's dwindled down,
Because you post a lot with him. So
yeah,
So
I
the
do.
fantasy is taken away.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah. You can't post anything. If I even post a picture with a guy friend, like it could be Stoner Rob, for Christ's sakes. And I'm like, we're comedians. We do a billion shows together,
A
like.
gay man will probably even cause, be like, he's gay.
Oh,
doesn't matter.
even when I posted pictures of me with Wesley, like people are like, "Oh, you guys are dating," and I'm like, you couldn't be further from the truth. Like we might have slept with some of the same people, but we are not dating. Like it's any picture you take with a man, it just like instantly kills a lot of your DMs. So
Did that hurt
makes,
your fan base? Did fan base go down with the boyfriend?
No,
coming up?
you know what? Because like we're in comedy, and it's like.
Not the same field.
But
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like when you have a boyfriend, it's like like you said, it ruins that like illusion of like,
Yeah.
oh, I could
Yeah,
date this
the
person.
chance.
But at the same time, I'm very happy in my relationship, and I want to showcase that side of
Yeah.
it too. So I show a lot of that, and I think in a way it's kind of built my relationship with my fans to be stronger because they're like rooting for the relationship,
Yeah.
and I'm posting a lot of
and you guys work together.
we do a lot of things together. We
Yeah.
do Channel 310 together. He's an incredible comedian.
Yeah.
We're writing a cartoon together about our
Oh,
cat
that's great.
Cupcake.
Oh,
So
cute.
there's a lot of fun stuff going on, and I actively engage with a lot of my fans.
Yeah.
I thank everybody, and so even when I did get the boyfriend, it was like because I was still engaging with them. I don't think I lost anybody,
Yeah, that's good.
and then I think I've gained new fans because of that.
Probably
Yeah.
women too.
Yeah.
You
What-
know, that
What do you like best about hosting your own show?
I love it being in charge of like booking amazing talent, and then I get to put together this awesome show, which gives people the opportunity to showcase what they do. And the end product makes me so happy when we put the whole video up, and then the other comedians are able to use it as their tape, and it's just really nice.
It's crazy to me that you say booking is your favorite part, because that's my least favorite part of hosting a show. Because I feel like everyone always is asking to be on your show, and I mean this in the best way possible. Like, I only do 2 shows a month, so I'm going for the best of the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I don't want to offend people, but I only want to have the strongest people. I want to have the people who I know who are, talented and are going places and verbally can handle themselves as I want all the people to be really good at what they do, but not me. No, I do. And it's hard for me because I feel like I'm like, oh, well, maybe in February or maybe in June, because I only have so many people. I only book 3 people on a show, so.
And another thing I like about it is it's like this time capsule too, you know? Like, I'm not waiting.
Yes.
I'm not waiting for like a network to give me a TV show. I started Small Talk. We did it with Channel 310. We found a theater that would let us host it there, and we filmed it, and we were able to film. We filmed 8 episodes last year.
Yeah.
So it's just, now I'll have that forever, and I can see where I was at that time period in my career, you know? And on my high school 10-year anniversary, 10-year reunion, I wasn't at my 10-year reunion. I was filming my birthday episode on my show, and it was just like so powerful, you know? My professor in college told me, I told him, I was like, I'm going to move to LA. I want to have my own talk show. And he was like, okay, you and everybody else, like, good luck. And like, basically kind of dissed me. And so it's crazy to think, hey, guess what? I do have my own show. It's on YouTube. Like, we do it with our Channel 310 crew. And it's like, don't let anyone ever tell you can't do something, because you just don't know how it's going to pan out and work out, you know?
100%. I could not agree with you more. Like, I think that all the time. I can't even, there's a country song that talks about moving out and being so broke, trying to make it as an artist, and then she says, please, mom and dad, please send money. I'm so broke and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh, that's me. I can't even listen to the song without choking up, because then it mentions and then I'm doing well and I'm staying at the Ritz and I'm sending money home to you. And I'm like, I did that. I'm doing it. I made it in Los Angeles. And it's like you have to and you have to reward yourself every once in a while. And holy shit, I did it, every once in a while I look around, just even driving down the highway, and you see the Hollywood sign, the palm trees, and you're like, I'm here for 5 years. I'm doing it. I get it. It's such a good feeling. It's overwhelming. You lived out here for
I've been here 26 years.
You lived here for too long for it to be exciting to you anymore.
No, I still
Does it still excited?
I think wow, I can't believe I've made it. Because look, in 26 years, I've seen a lot of people come and go.
Oh,
100%.
And for the most part, everybody goes.
Yeah.
And I'm still standing.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about how I started in a studio apartment
in her house,
in my neighborhood, just in 25 years has literally moved down up. It went from studio to 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom to townhouse to my own house.
Yeah.
And
gorgeous house, by the way.
Thank you.
It's my favorite house.
And I can't believe that I'm still standing.
Can I say you grow pot there and you have the most beautiful garden?
I do grow marijuana.
That is very inspiring, because it's important to kind of remember, I've lived in my car. I've had shitty roommates. I've had 17 different roommates in the last 5 years of living in chasing this California dream. I've moved away from California once. I've done this is my 3rd time.
Oh my
but
God.
I've been here on the 15th. It'll be 4 years. So it's my 3rd time doing the LA thing.
So what do you think?
4 years consecutively.
What do you think is the biggest surprise then to you about moving here? What was the biggest surprise about LA that you've learned?
Well, when you first move out here, I feel like it's so easy to be so naive, So, I remember going on, so I've found every roommate that I've had on Craigslist up until, I live with my boyfriend and our roommate Alan now, and we live in a townhouse. So I love that you named all the different places. Oh my God, I'm in the townhouse now.
Right.
Okay.
That's totally how it goes.
It's happening. It's all happening.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm living with people that I chose to live with. It's the best place I've ever lived. This is the most comfortable I've been. I've never had this much stability in my life, and I've only had this kind of stability for the last 2 months, so it's insane.
Yeah.
But everybody I found was on Craigslist. when I moved back here for the third time, I went on Craigslist to, find a 1-bedroom to rent out. And this man was renting out rooms in his house in Burbank. I drove like the 19 hours to move out here, knock on the door, and this man was like 6'10", and I'm 4'6", so it was like really funny. You know what I mean? Like that. I didn't
Were you
mention.
scared?
No, like he was this older man, and I like didn't. And there was another woman that lived in the house, but it was just like, this is such a movie right now.
Yeah.
Like he's literally a giant, and everything in this house is like,
How did your
like way up
parents
there.
feel about you doing that?
So the third time I moved, actually, my parents were like, "Don't go." Like, they didn't want me to go, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna do it." And it was this was like the one time I was like, "Oh my God!" Like no one's like supporting this decision, but like I know that I'm supposed to be in LA. And a month later, I started comedy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's just and since starting comedy, it's like it's really been the glue that's kept me here because the community is so wonderful. I found my passion. I didn't find it till I was 24, so it was like once you figure out what it is that you're meant to do, everything else kind of opens up,
Yeah.
So I think I spent the first few years out of college like, who am I? What am I going to do? Am I just supposed to do a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life? Like, what the hell? And it's like, you go into this depression cycle and like, so.
And it's hard to step into a world of being an artist because the money, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like it's
yeah.
hard to go like, okay, I'm going to give up having any stability and just fucking wing it. Like, here we go. It's tough. It's a tough thing to do. I love it. Okay.
And in this town.
I know, really, because it's okay. Anyway, moving on. So this is my favorite part of the show, and this is a section of the last thing that you Googled related to sex or sexuality. I turn to you, Miss Lila Hart.
Okay, so this is so funny, but I feel like I'm always Googling this. Like I'm always Googling like, am I pregnant? Why is my period late? Like it's always something related to that. And then
I keep extra sticks under my sink just in case.
Period sticks?
Yeah, I get nervous all the
Pregnancy?
time. Yeah.
And it's so funny because my boyfriend, like, he'll get so upset. He'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you do this every month. You're not pregnant. You do this every month, And then, of course, I'm not.
Wait, do you want to be though? So is that
No. I don't want to
Okay.
be it. Yeah, we're not. We're still in the townhouse. We have to
Okay.
get the house.
Are you on
and
the
then-
pill?
No, I'm not on anything.
Oh my
Oh,
God,
girl.
Lila.
Okay,
Girl,
so the
come on. Look at us,
reason
we're like,
I have to tell you
"Oh."
though, the reason that I'm not is because in 2017, 3 days after the new year, I had like this incredible stomach pain. So I went to the ER, and then 4 hours later, I had emergency surgery, and they took out my left ovary.
Oh my
So I
God.
only have one ovary, which is insane. But I have gotten to this point, like I got sober, so I stopped drinking alcohol and started taking care of my body really well, and like, got to the point where I was like really regulating when my period would come. So I feel super physically healthy. I don't want to get on the pill. So we kind of just
Yeah.
like used this tracker where it was like, you're ovulating so you can have sex here, this and that. And then
Oh wow.
Eric just thinks that his pullout game is so strong. So
Of every
You
man
know?
thinks his
Russian
pull-out
roulette.
game is so strong.
yeah. But I'm not pregnant, so I'm on my period. Everything is good, but I just think it's funny that I always do that.
Hilarious.
Okay, can I just quickly recommend?
Yeah.
Do you have an iPhone? The new health app, the period tracker.
Oh, really?
Is dead on. It told me the day, and I'm not a regular person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it is
Wow.
pretty unbelievable. So I highly
So, okay,
recommend.
cool. That is good to know
Yeah.
because I do
Hilarious.
love a
Or
good
do
tracker.
do you guys use them?
I use
An
this thing
app?
called Flow.
I don't have a
Flow?
period.
Oh, that's right. Oh, so
Yeah.
you're like, I don't need it.
I don't need it.
P tracker is the one I used to use.
That's why I have pee sticks under my counter is because my birth control stops my period, so I don't get a period. So I
Do you
just
get the physical feelings though, and just no flow?
yeah, I get the cries, I get the cramping, even like
Oh, wow.
yeah,
So
I
you
get.
do get it. You just get it.
I
with
do
no
get it with no blood,
flow.
but which kind of scares me because I'm like, shouldn't I be losing?
I think there's a name
amount?
for that, by the way. I think it's like some kind of a menses. There is a name for having your period with
You
no
should
flow.
Google it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be your next
Yeah.
Google.
That should be my next thing. But so my last Google, because I always get so gross. Alexander hates it when I do this, but he's not here today. So fuck it. I get to talk about it. Because I like to be honest on my show. And I like to tell people that there are downfalls in life and that everything isn't always hunky dory. And I am the yeast infection queen. And it happens. And it happens to other people. It's not just me. But I do have a very sensitive vagina, which is why I don't know why I do porn, because it's sick all the time. I have a very sick vagina. But I do try to maintain it to my best of my abilities. But we were walking through Disneyland, and I'm walking so much, and I had on like tight yoga pants, and for whatever reason, like it made me bleed. And I'm like, why am I bleeding? Like I don't get a period. And so I'm like, this is really weird. Like I got to get a quarter and get a tampon. It was the whole thing. And then I noticed that I was getting a yeast infection. I'm like, great. And so I Googled that, and it was like, yeah, because it's like the extra amount of walking that I wouldn't normally be doing, and probably in the tight pants I wouldn't normally be wearing to go do that much activity for that long. You know what I'm saying? But it, like, I don't know, activated something, and it fucked me all up. So that was the last thing I Googled.
So how's it today?
Oh, it's good now.
Okay.
I have a surplus of the diflucan because my doctor's a porn doctor, and he's so great about it. He's so like non-judgmental that he's just like, yeah, well, that's just part of the job, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, here you go. How many do you want?
What's diflucan?
It gets rid of yeast infection in like a day. It's a 24-hour pill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. The only problem is you can't drink while you're on it. So, you know.
I recently had an incident. Oh, because I had a back thing and I had to take a what is it? The prednisone pack.
Yeah.
Which,
I've never done that. I don't know what it is.
It's like just a anti-inflammatory.
Oh, okay.
Steroid.
Steroid.
Oh,
Yeah, steroid.
okay.
And I got a yeast infection like the
I
next
get yeast.
day.
It's crazy.
Just like that. And I was like, oh, shit, because I'm not in porn, so I don't
Yeah.
have that. And
Yeah.
I'm like, shit. So I ran to Ralph's, got a
Yeah.
monostat.
Not the same.
Okay, totally dying because I was like, oh my God, I haven't used one of these in forever. And I was like, oh, it was so gross.
Gross.
I have to tell you, it
They're
was like I was
disgusting.
giving myself a yeast infection because there was so much
Yes.
white in there.
Yeah, they're gross.
It was gross, but it cleared that shit up.
It
though.
did?
It cleared it up in that one day.
Also, boric acid is really
Okay,
good
that
at
doesn't
that.
sound very appealing in the
Yeah.
pussy.
No, but you can. You just they're in capsules. You just
What?
put a capsule up your hoo-ha and you just
Really?
sleep in it overnight, and it oozes out like the Vagisil does.
Oh,
But it gets rid of your yeast infection, unless it's a really crazy yeast infection, and then it does not get rid of your yeast infection. But you know,
There's so many guys right now that are
That are
watching
so
this that would-
turned on.
and they would eat it. No, it's totally somebody's like, oh my God, give
I
me
don't
that
want to talk about
monostat.
eating it. Okay.
I always have to do that. I
Okay.
just have
All
to
right.
do
Moving
that.
on, because now we're eating yeast infections, and that's
Yeah.
disgusting. Okay.
Do you want to know what I looked up?
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought that was the thing you looked up. Yes. Yes. I want to know.
So right before I
Yeah.
came to the show, I had gotten a reminder.
Yeah.
What is the average size penis? Do you guys know?
4 inches.
No. Anybody? Dad?
I'd say 5.5.
5.1.
Wow.
All right, nice. That's
the average?
That was the average. Yeah, I just wanted to do a little refresher because I wasn't sure, but that was the last thing I googled.
I
right
agree
before
with
I got
that.
Here.
I agree with that. I think
You've
that's
seen a lot of
average.
cocks,
Yeah. I would say that that's
but you're not
average.
seeing a lot of 5-inch cocks. I mean, let's.
Yeah.
right? I'm not
Yeah.
giving you those shrimpers.
Yeah, no, not really. But I mean, I have a real life also. You know,
No, yeah, yeah.
I'm a real person. I'm a
You
real
are-
girl.
You don't only take like 20
yeah,
inch cock.
no, thank God.
It's not all only porn. That's all you want. The
No.
porn girls.
Okay, so that's where you go. Okay, and that's the average, just so you know, guys. Okay, all right. So, Lila, I have a question just because I don't feel like everyone does know. So, what? Tell us exactly what spina bifida is. What is the condition?
Okay, so spina bifida is a congenital birth defect, and it is like being born with a spinal cord injury. That's
Okay.
the simplest way to put it. So when I was born, my back didn't close all the way, so the nerve endings were exposed in my back. So they had to do an emergency surgery where the doctor goes in there and he, closes the back together. And because of this, there's going to be a lot of complications. A lot of people, and there's a big umbrella of what could happen. So you could lose the ability to walk on your own,
Oh
lose
my
the
God.
ability to go to the bathroom on your own, and it's very complicated. A lot of pain associated with that. So when I was born, they told my parents that I'd never be able to walk, that I would have learning disabilities, and
wow.
that I would be in all sorts of pain. So I'm very fortunate that I am able to walk. I do walk with a slight limp. One of my legs is a lot smaller than the other one, so I wear a size 3 shoe, even though the 1 foot is like significantly smaller. I can still wear flip flops. I'm very proud of that. And it's like being born with a spinal cord injury. So when I was a kid, like I didn't really meet other kids with my disability because my parents, like, they wanted to try to make me feel as normal as possible. And it wasn't until I was older, 21 was when I went to my first disability event, and I met a baby with spina bifida, and so like that, it's really been this journey, when you have a disability. And like for me, it's because because I am able to walk, right, and like a lot of people I meet with disability, with spina bifida aren't able to walk. Sometimes I feel like I'm in this gray area where I'm disabled, but I can still like I still do a lot of things.
But
you know,
abled.
yeah. So it's this weird gray area where I kind of feel like is perfect for comedy. You know,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
works out.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Like, do you feel like it opens more doors for you because you are different? You're a different brand of comedy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes and no, you
Okay.
know, because I think that when I first got on the scene, people probably thought that I'm just going to talk about being short. But really, in my stand up, I really try to talk about a lot of disability, you know, because there isn't anybody that's really going that deep into disability. And if I can go on stage and talk about my spina bifida openly, you know, I feel like the people in the audience, they can kind of like have this like weight lifted and really see me for who I am,
Yeah.
you know, rather than just the disability.
Yeah. Dr. Lovejoy, have you ever coached clients with a disability or like a major body issue?
You know what? I think a lot of people actually call me to act as though they live a life that they don't have it. So nobody has actually, you know, a fantasy world where they're.
Got it. When they call you, it's a different
Yeah,
level.
no, actually I have a couple clients who said, because I'll say something like, go get on your knees and, you know, tell me I'm in a wheelchair. I'm like, okay, well, let's not do that. So go wheel yourself into the corner and put your head in the corner. But other than that, no, I'm not at all, which is in 15 years. I'm a little surprised now that you say that. But
Yeah, I am too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you get custom? Do you have anybody want you to like a client that's, you know?
No, not really. I mean, my requests for my customs are mainly feet. That is like the number one genre of like, just show me your feet. Whatever my feet are doing, that is like a huge thing. So crazy, which I love because I don't have to do my makeup.
You know, I think that the thing about disability is it's like we're not really sexualized in that way, right?
Totally.
So I think that especially when I was in college, like I really struggled with that because I had a lot of guys who would tell me like, I really like you, Lila, but I'm afraid of what my friends are going to think. Or I
Oh my
can't.
God.
I've literally had this said to my face. I can't date you because my frat brothers are going to make fun of me for dating a midget. You know, so when I tell you that like this has been this whole journey of like now that I have a boyfriend, we've been together for 2 years, and like it really took a lot for me to kind of get to this point of like being totally confident and secure in the disability, right? Because when I was in college and I would do like online dating, it would just be like me sitting like this, and a guy wouldn't know that I was 4'6", so we would like Skype and FaceTime and like talk for months, and then I would be like, oh, when I meet them, I'm gonna be like surprised, you know, because I thought they'd fall in love with my personality, right? And now looking back on that, it was like no, like when I moved to LA and I got on Tinder, it was always me next to a parking meter, or like I was being very open and honest of this is who I am. And then when I got into comedy and I'm on stage and I'm talking about spina bifida and I'm going into detail about things, that's when I met my boyfriend, who's also a comedian. So it's like now he really knows what he's getting into, right? So it's like in a way, I weeded out a lot of people who weren't going to be interested in me because of this. But I'm also feeling like as a stand-up comedian, it's part of my mission, you know, to get on stage and to get as big as I can to show that, hey, you can be disabled and sexy.
Yeah.
And it is okay to be attracted to somebody like me.
Yeah.
It's okay to be attracted to a little person, to someone smaller than me. We all
I feel like
have
giving
our
you a
own...
standing ovation right now when you say this. I'm like, yes, girl, get it.
What's your
Love it.
boyfriend's height?
So this is super funny. My boyfriend, he's 5'3", so I'm 4'6". So together we just look like, he'll joke around and be like, we were made for each other. And I'm like, you're short. I have a spina bifida, but okay, you know.
And does he have any disability? He's just a short man.
No, he's just short man, and it's so What really attracted me to Eric is the fact that he is so confident in who he is. He's very smart. He's very funny, and he really holds his own. But it's like.
And he's got a big dick.
He has a big dick.
I wanted to ask.
He does
for
have a big
5'3"
dick.
man.
He's got a big dick.
And is it big?
We spent a weekend together.
That's the first question.
But it's not just like big because I'm small. It's like an actually like a nice big dick. And I'm like, oh, this is why he walks around with all that confidence and doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? Because he knows he has
Big
a big
dick energy.
you know?
Yeah, you strap it.
I love
So,
big dick energy.
But it was.
Wow.
I do feel like we were made for each other, but it took me going through all of this kind of just, understanding myself. But I would date a guy that was 6'2". I would date a guy that was 3'2". I would. It's not about how tall you are. It's about what's in your heart and how you carry yourself. So.
Yeah. And who you're attracted, you gel, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't. It's
100%.
in seconds.
But you
right?
shouldn't. I think a lot of people, if you're attracted to that, you shouldn't let what your friends are going to think
that's immature.
deter you from that. And I think now at 28, like, if I was single now, I think my confidence would attract so many different type of men to me because of how I carry myself. You know,
Yes.
it's back in the day. It was partly because of my disability, but partly because of my insecurity around my disability.
100%.
That I allowed people to treat me like that.
Did you tell him
too.
to fuck himself after he said that, or did you just like?
No, it was a very, because I had that happen so many times where like I would really like somebody, and they would date me and I would think this is really going to be something and it'd be like, oh no, we're only dating in secret. Why haven't I met any of your friends? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, the disability is really bothering you, and it's insane, but it's real.
Yeah.
And it's so great that I could just make fun of them on stage and on podcasts now.
Oh yeah, that must
Yeah.
feel so good too.
And it's a lot of, I will say, I do appreciate that a lot of these guys who were kind of dicks in that way have reached out to me via Facebook or
nice.
Instagram to be like, oh, I would, I made a big mistake. I was such an asshole. I wish I never did that. But at the same time, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because going through that experience did make me stronger. I mean, it could have went a lot of other ways, but we're all on our own journeys, and we all go through our own heartbreaks and our own shit that people say to us.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to stand for it, and I'm just going to do me and do comedy, and
I love it.
Yes,
find the
queen.
joy.
I
Yes,
know,
queen.
right? Okay, this show moves so fast. We have 5 minutes, so we're gonna run to our questions from our viewers. And guys, just a quick reminder: we do love getting all of your questions. We get to as many as we can every episode. So email your questions to info@sexyfunnyraw.com on Instagram or Twitter. Or Facebook, I guess. You can message us there too. So this question goes out to everybody, and it says, I have some serious body issues, and I never want to take off my clothes fully during sex or have the lights on. I just can't. My boyfriend keeps pressuring me to get fully naked and says it's affecting his wanting to have sex. What do I do?
I feel like I can relate to this because, like, with my back and my scars, my back, I would always never want to like take my shirt off, and it is like that really sucks to be in that situation, especially because it's like your boyfriend can tell you that you're beautiful and I love you and this is what great, but it's like if you don't feel that, it's really hard to kind of, you know.
I didn't have sex with my shirt off until I got my boobs done.
Really?
No lie, I'd never had sex with mine. I was like engaged to a man.
I want to see what they look like.
Oh, they were. I just had
show me
nipples.
photos.
It was really bad. I had it in my 10-year challenge on Instagram.
The bikini.
Yeah,
You can't see
yeah.
them.
So I get it too. I don't know. I don't know how you get to that comfort level. I guess just like good communication is always my thing.
Maybe start with like a mood light.
Yeah, like
know,
a light.
Like a light, like a salt lamp.
Yeah.
Well, it also, I think, comes from within a lot. You've got to work on,
got to work on your inner self
you've gotta-
before you can make your outer self.
You can't be sexy
And
unless
also-
you feel some form
And
of
also know this,
sexy.
like, your man clearly thinks you're banging if he wants the lights on and if
Yeah.
he wants to fuck you with the lights on
Yeah.
and is asking for that. Like, you have somebody who does want you.
Yeah.
But
good
that's why I
advice.
think it's so within. Like you can't even see if you don't have the esteem. Anybody can tell you how great you are, and you're not going to see it, which is unfortunate. But therapy.
Yeah. Okay. One more question and then I'm going to run out, I promise. Okay. All right. So the next question is some men think it's rude or weird to be into sex or talk about sex openly. How do you gauge how much to talk about sex when first dating someone? I can't answer that because I also talk about sex way too often in rooms of strangers, and I don't feel like it's I don't think you can ever talk about it too much. I think we should all be talking about it a lot more. So that's my thing.
I'll say any man that is going to feel uncomfortable with you talking about sex within like whenever you want to talk about it isn't the man for you. Because I can guarantee you the man that really is into you won't give a fuck what you talk about. Like he'll be so into you that he'll be happy to engage in that sexual conversation with you.
Right.
Yeah, I'll
true.
say anything, anytime because,
No
It's-
filter,
no,
though.
you know, I guess you kind of feel a person. You feel the room. You know
Yeah.
what's appropriate, what's not. You don't have to be talking about shitting on a table while you're with somebody's family, except Dad over here.
Right.
But
yeah.
you know, but yeah, I don't care. And
Yeah.
if somebody thinks it's too like much and I'm too much,
Yeah.
fuck them.
Yeah. No, I agree with
Fuck
that.
'em.
Yeah, Dad, how do you feel about that subject?
I never even thought about it, but
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
You don't really
we-
censor yourself.
we talk about sex. I mean,
Yeah.
even you and I talk about sex.
It's real
Yeah.
healthy.
It is.
People don't talk about sex enough, and that's our problem in society. Which
I
is
agree
why
with
things
we
are
talked about
fetishized.
sex at the dinner table.
Yeah.
At my family, even
Yeah.
with her grandma and grandpa there. I mean,
Yeah.
it was very. Open
I remember
always.
they used to tell me at one point, like, to go and leave the room. And then at one point, they stopped telling me to
Yeah.
leave the room. And I'm like, I still don't think I should be here.
Yeah.
Like, why I still feel like the conversation is inappropriate and I should excuse myself. But our family doesn't really see it like that. Even recently, we were going to play this green apples game. And it's meant for like 17 and older because it does get a little graphic. And we're just like, we let our 10-year-old nieces and nephew play with us. And somebody at one point was like, well, I don't want my kid to play that. And we're like, really? Like, we don't get it. Like, we're like, it's so, in our family, it's just like, we don't even think about it. Like, that's not a taboo subject for us. So,
Yeah, I grew up in a very open household, and
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't even know what things were. If I think of movies or things I watched, I didn't know what things meant.
Yeah.
I didn't know what words were. It was just I knew it was a silly, dirty word, but I didn't know it.
yeah.
I wouldn't know what a gangbang was. It'd be like, hee hee hee. It's a funny word.
Yeah,
but-
it's a funny word where we bang things together all in a
yeah.
gang. All right, guys, that's it. That's another episode that we have just wrapped up. So I want to thank you so much, Lila, for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
Absolutely, you
It
were
was
great.
amazing. I had a great time.
Good. Tell the people where they can find you then.
You can find me at Love Lila Hart, LoveLilaHart, and on Channel 310,
Yes.
Small Talk with Lila Hart.
Absolutely, Dr. Lovejoy. Thank you so much for being here yet again for another episode with me.
It's been incredible and amazing.
Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me, Dr. Lovejoy, on Sirius XM at the I Want Radio Show on Tuesdays and on Channel 415. And you can find me on Instagram at I Want Dr. Lovejoy, Twitter, Femdom Therapy, and I Want Dr. Lovejoy for all my erotic audio.
She's gonna take your
And you
money.
can call me.
And
I'm going
you're
to take
like
your money.
it.
Fuck you. Or as the Femdom say, fuck you, pay me.
Fuck you, pay me. All right, Dad. Thank you again for being here for another episode, even if
you.
it was just to ping in for a few times. And to you guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Sexy Funny Raw. Find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sexy Funny Raw. Watch and listen to all of our episodes at sexyfunnyraw.com. Making the airwaves sexy, one show at a time. Until next time, stay sexy, bitches.